as he...
Hang on.
Then
On here?
Good luck.
'Twas an early winter's morning, the air crisp with the sweat of hormonal high school students, as Arts Major Bob awaited the 561, which by his watch was 7 minutes late. He was scurrying through his backpack, looking over his exam notes, when a vibration shook the earth beneath his feet, catching his attention. A billowing cloud of white vapor clouded his vision as he looked up from his belongings and saw the bus proceeding past him up the inclined road. Realizing the implications of missing that exact bus, he scrambles to make his way to the following stop, when a postman witnesses his ordeal.
"'Tis I, the infamous postman Pete, who delivers everything he is responsible for, on time."
Bob stopped in his tracks, bewildered and out of breath, and cautiously asked if Pete would deliver him to uni.
"Fear not, Bob the Bewildered, for I shall escort you in a timely fashion on my noble steed."
The frazzled student climbed aboard the postie bike. They weaved in and out of peak morning traffic until the sound of Latrobe's clock dinged its 9 o'clock dawn.
It is the wee small hours of the morning, and there is a Latrobe student whose name is Bob. He is he's at a bus stop and he's waiting to catch a bus to Latrobe, and he has an exam that he's studying for, and he's cramming it very last minute. And all of a sudden, there is a loud bang, and he sees that the bus has broken down, and a wheel rolls towards him like they do in the movies. And he looks at his phone and it's out of battery, and then a postman called Paul rides up on his little Modi Fixie boner bike, and he says, "Hello," because he's just transferred from Britain. "Hello, Bob. I've delivered your mail before, so that's why I know your name. How can I help?" And Bob explains the predicament that he's in, and Bob asks, "Can you take me to uni? I've got an exam in 20 minutes, and it's a 15-minute drive." Paul says, "Of course, jump on." And they're about to leave, and then Bob says, "Wait, I need my headphones." And he grabs his headphones and he puts on his headphones and he listens to a podcast because he doesn't like small talk. And then he gets to uni and the clock strikes 9 and he realizes, wait a second, we don't have a clock. And he notices he's been taken to the Melbourne campus and he needed to go to Bundoora.
Okay, so it's in the wee small hours of the morning, and a Latrobe student named Bob is waiting at the bus stop for a bus, and he is cramming because he has an exam that morning, and he's studying for his exam. And then the bus rocks up, and the wheel falls off, and he realizes that he's not gonna get on that bus. And he checks his phone and it's out of battery, so he can't call anyone. When suddenly his postman comes up. A postman drives past on his motorbike and he says, "Hello," in a British accent because he's British. And he says, "Hello, Bob. I deliver your mail. That's how I know your name. What seems to be the problem?" And Bob explains his predicament and how he has an exam and can't get there. And he says, "Can you take me to uni? Because it's a 20-minute drive I've got an exam in 20 minutes, and it's a 15-minute drive. And Bob says, of course I can. No, the postman says, of course I can, sorry. And so the postman, so Bob gets on the postman's bike, and the postman takes him to uni, but of course he has to put his headphones on to listen to the podcast, because Bob does not like small talk. And then he gets there, and he hears the clock strike 9, and he suddenly realizes that he doesn't have the uni doesn't have a clock, and he is at the Melbourne campus, and he should be at the Bundaberg campus.
In the early hours of the morning, a La Trobe student by the name of Bob sat at a bus stop doing a bit of cramming while he waited for his bus to uni to come. He was on his way to an important exam, which was going to begin in 20 minutes. The bus finally arrived, but before it pulled out of the stop, the wheel fell off, leaving Bob with no way to get to uni. He then saw a postman on his motorbike coming his direction, and so he flagged him down and asked if he could get a lift to uni on the bike. "It's only 15 minutes away," assured Bob. Knowing Bob for years because of their deliverer-delivery relationship, the postman agreed and allowed Bob to hop on. They drove as fast as they could, arriving just as the clock struck 9. Thanking the postman for the lift, Bob rushed off to his exam, but halfway through his dash, he suddenly realized La Trobe doesn't have a clock. He looked around. He wasn't at La Trobe, he was at Melbourne Uni.
In the early hours of the morning, a student called Bob was on his way to La Trobe. As he waited at the bus stop, he decided to cram for an exam. After 20 minutes, the bus came, and Bob got on. But as the bus pulled out of the stop, a wheel fell off, and Bob had no way of getting to La Trobe. Then a postman on a motorbike passed, and Bob flagged him down to ask him for a ride to La Trobe, which was only 15 minutes away. Because of their deliverer-delivery relationship, the postman gladly obliged, and Bob hopped on. They arrived at La Trobe Uni as the clock struck 9. But after Bob got off and rushed to class, he stopped because he remembered that La Trobe has no clock. He wasn't at La Trobe Uni, he was at Melbourne University.
In the early hours of the morning, there was a student from La Trobe called Bob, and he had an exam to get to, so he studied and went to the bus stop. And while he waited for the bus, he studied some more. After 20 minutes for waiting for the bus turned up. He got on the bus, but then a wheel fell off the bus. So he got off the bus, and a postman came by. And the postman was like, "Hey Bob, do you want to lift to La Trobe?" And because of the deliverer relationship between them, Bob was like, "Sure." And Bob got on with the postman, and then they drove to La Trobe, and then Bob got to La Trobe, walked in, and then the clock chimed 9. And Bob was like, "Oh no, I need to get to my class." And then he remembered that La Trobe didn't have a clock. And then he realized he was at Melbourne University.
Right, so it was the early hours of the morning, and at La Trobe University there was a student called Bob, no relation to Bob. And Bob had a very important exam to go to today, so he got the bus to the exam, but he hadn't studied for the exam, naughty Bob, so he was studying whilst he was waiting for the bus, and then he got on the bus. It took about 20 minutes for the bus to come, and he got on the bus, and then suddenly the bus had a flat tire. Oh no! So then he had to get off the bus, and luckily there was a very nice postman driving by, and then the postman's like, hey, I'm all about that delivery relationship, you know, just get on in my postie van. And then they drove to Latrobe, and by the time Bob got to Latrobe, it was 9 a.m. The clock was chiming that 9 a.m. as Bob walked into the Agora, and then Bob froze. He was like, hang on, there's no clock at Latrobe. And he looked around, and that's when he realised he was at Melbourne Uni.